What beautiful energy you brought to us this morning. Thank you so much. And good morning to you. It's a real treat to be here this morning. You know, at the end of the year, every year, Home Office invites all the ministers to submit ideas for Sunday talks so that when the year starts, we have a whole list of Sunday talks, but we have to submit quotes and ideas for how you might do the talk, etc. And today was the one I submitted, and it's interesting that I get to bring it to you. Yesterday I was in Sacramento and I met a minister who said, "You're the one." I went, "Ah." She said, "I'm doing your talk tomorrow." And I went, "Oh, good. I think I'm going to go home and make sure mine's pretty good." So I don't know. It's interesting. Because the topic is science, superstition, and common sense. Now, you know I love science. It's always my favorite part, especially as we're beginning the 40-day of prayer challenge. If you didn't know about that, I've been working for about 4 months putting this workbook together, the Power Up Through Affirmative Prayer 40-day challenge. And if you have your workbook with you, page 16 is where you take notes of this talk. And then when you go into your group, then you can discuss it. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. The one thing scientific prayer is a formula, because science, if you ever looked at Einstein's chalkboard, all these formulas. And here's the formula for scientific prayer. C plus B equals A. C is what we conceive, our ideas. B is what we believe, and A is the result, what we achieve. So what we conceive plus what we believe is what we achieve. And we give the full power of our mind to this, because when we're thinking it and believing it, it goes into subconscious mind, and it becomes like the great amen. You know, at the end of every treatment we go, "And so it is." Well, it also means amen. And so it acts like an energy in our life. And so it is, amen. You know, the feeling of saying amen, it's like, it's done, God, it's all done, all is well. Well, I brought this with me this morning because several years ago I did a talk similar to this, and Tara Steele made this little stamp for me, and it says amen. And it's a great visual for how we stamp amen everywhere in our life, by repeating our thoughts. What are you stamping? Are you stamping doubt, fear, worry, concern? God listens because it's subconscious mind. So it's important to think about what we're stamping amen with in our life. It's very powerful. Now, there's superstition. And, superstition is fear of the unknown, or that stuff just happens. Sometimes not said as eloquently as that. But we can inadvertently stamp superstition on what we really want. And it's doubt. Are you stamping doubt on what you really want? Are you stamping fear on what you really want? It was interesting. Someone came in my office this week, and they weren't feeling very good. If any of you have had that recently. But they said, "I'm buying everything everyone tells me to buy to get rid of this flu. I'm buying essential oils, I'm buying creams, I'm buying liquids, I'm buying everything. And it doesn't seem to be working." And Paul and I were talking about this last night, and he said, "Did your mom ever put Vicks Vapor Rub on your chest when you had a chest cold?" Yeah? Yeah? Oh man, the smell, that was enough to cure you, wasn't it? Well, did your mom ever, when you had a sore throat, give you hot water with lemon and a shot of whiskey in it? It must have been a Midwestern thing, I don't know. But it was horrible when you were a kid to have lemon and whiskey in hot water. It was pretty awful. But it was a superstitious thing. And so when we do get sick, I ask you, do you throw everything, including the kitchen sink, into your prayer to God, hoping there'll be an answer and tomorrow you will feel perfect? little bit of superstition. You know, because when we have doubt, our prayer works perfectly. We continue to have doubt, right? I'm throwing everything in there, God, you know, pick the pieces and make it happen. And there's a lot of doubt in the bottom of that. And so we continue to have this issue that we doubt we'll doubt that even hot water, lemon, and whiskey will fix. Let's put it that way. So then the third part of this is common sense. And common sense is thinking and believing in a reasonable way. Now, honest to God, I don't know what that means anymore. We can think when we break a leg, it's common sense to go to a doctor. When we don't feel good, it's common sense to go to a doctor. But so many of these things today, I just go, I don't know. I don't know what would be common sense. And does it make common sense to believe in a God who's wrathful, a God who's judging you, a God who isn't sure if you're worthy of his love? No, it makes no common sense to me. I cannot say it makes common sense to believe in a God that judges me in everything I do. I don't think it makes common sense to believe that God has such an ego, I've got to praise and adore him every day. Really. A lot of people believe that. Bless them, because they are doing the best thing they know how. Thank you. I believe it's very sane to believe in a God that loves me no matter what. Yeah. Loves me no matter what. Unconditional love. Isn't that what we all want from our friends and our family? God is that. God is unconditional love. Otherwise, the whole universe would just disintegrate. It couldn't exist. You know, I was going through my, Sue was so cute. It's like, me too. I'm a bookaholic. I didn't even contribute one to the book sale. Paul asks me every day, did you go through your books yet? I'm thinking about it. Did you go? No. So this morning, I was looking on, I guess it was yesterday, late last night, I was looking through my bookshelf, and I buy everything Deepak Chopra writes. Brilliant guy. Here's this little tiny book. I didn't even know I had it. I must have bought it in the last book sale, because it was Deepak Chopra. And it's called from his Essential Series. I didn't even know he had an Essential Series. So I pulled it off the shelf, and it's really cool because he says everyday coincidences are not random or meaningless. They are important clues to what the universe is communicating with you. It really is a two-way street. It's really beautiful how he explains this. But he says there's 3 levels of existence: physical domain, the quantum domain, and the non-local domain. So you know what the physical domain is. It's what you're seeing right now, the chair you're sitting at, everything, the lights, the cameras, the action. It's all that we can see and feel, touch, and smell. It also occurs as a timeline. There was yesterday, there's today, and there's going to be tomorrow. The physical domain just kind of flows. You know, there's a beginning to life, a middle to life, and an ending to life. And all of it's impermanent. That's the physical domain. It's all impermanent. It's governed by a lot of laws, such as the law of gravity, the law of cause and effect. And what we find between the physical domain and our experience is a level of energy production that we really can't touch. We know it's there because we feel our energy. We feel the energy of other people. That takes us into the quantum domain. It's something we can't touch. We can't perceive it with our 5 senses, but we know it's there. It's pure information and energy. One of the first things we learned in school is everything's made up of molecules and atoms, and of course science has found quirks, and you go deeper into that, and it's almost infinite in itself. But all those particles contain information, and they contain energy, and they move at the speed of light. Now, I unexpectedly had that happen to me years ago after I first came to this teaching. I was sitting in my kitchen, and to this moment, I can tell you the color of the tablecloth and the wallpaper, everything in my kitchen, because all of a sudden I was looking at myself from the corner of the room. And I was eating granola, and I was eating about at this speed. Because the speed of energy pulses at the speed of light. So our energy pulses at a much lower rate. So that's why I could hardly tell I was moving. It was like, "Are you still there, Mary?" "Yes, I'm trying to eat my granola." So it's vibrating very fast, and we can't process things that fast. But it's like we're in a big soup, a big energy soup. And it's a universal field, and this soup is all around us, and we're in it, and so are you. We're all in this together. And that's why we can tap into each other's energy. You know, sometimes you can just see someone, and you know they're just not feeling up to par, wishing they had some lemon and whiskey, I don't know, to feel better. But it all comes back to C plus B equals A. What we conceive, what we believe, equals what we experience. So when you came in this morning and you received your program, who was reading that program? No, I don't mean did you read the program. Who was reading the program? Was it your mind? Because, you know, if you have to read something, you have to decode the words. You know, sometimes words pop up that we don't know. And then you have to go, well, what did that word mean? And then you have to say, well, all those words were strung together in a sentence. Did the sentence make sense? So the mind's going like this while the other part of our presence is looking at it and reading it. It's almost like a double thing going on here. You were experiencing a presence within you that was experiencing everything going on, and it's this unlimited field of energy and information. It's kind of mind-blowing, really. This takes us to the next level of existence, which is non-local domain. That's our pure consciousness. That's where information and energy is out there, and it's just in this sea of consciousness. And if you've ever had an idea that just came out of the blue, you have no idea where it came from, you couldn't have put your finger on it if you had to. It's in this sea of consciousness that we just drew it to us. It's beyond time and space. It's pure potential. And in this non-local domain, I love what Einstein said. It's darn right spooky. Darn right spooky. And in this book, Chopra gives a real good example of that. He had a researcher in his laboratories at the Chopra Center. He was studying human cells once they're taken out of the human body. Who would think of that? But people do. So he put a lot of his saliva in a test tube, and he put it in this centrifuge, and he got it down to just pure white cells. And then he thought, I wonder if I cut my hand, will these cells even know that? So he's going around the office looking for a little knife, and he hooked these cells up to an EEG type machine, and he finds this little knife, and he comes back, and man, it's going off the charts. These white cells are going bizarro. Not that he cut his hand, but he was thinking of it. That's the spooky part of this non-local domain. It's just amazing. And so it sensed his thoughts. You know, sometimes people say my plants sense our thoughts. But it reacted to his intention, not an actual activity. So this is the amazing thing about the human body. And he says, you know, we have 100 trillion cells in our body. 1,000 cells for every bright star in the Milky Way. That might help put it in perspective. But if you've read any of the cellular biology books, each cell has its own brain. Each little cell has its membrane, and they communicate with each other. And if there's toxic energy coming, they shut down. And if there's good energy coming, they go full speed ahead in doing what they do. And it's synchronicity at its best. I mean, it's our breathing, it's our metabolism, it's, you know, what we take in, what we eliminate. All these things are going on by all these trillions of cells. And it just does it in harmony, pure harmony. But we can subvert that. We have the power to subvert our own bodily energy. It's really simple. Stress, negativity, judgment, anger, worry. It disrupts the energy field in our body. 2 weeks ago, that was perfect for me to realize again, I did it again. I was so stressed out about everything I had to get done in the office, and I was going, I can do it, charge, 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 and ended up with a cold. And Paul said, why did you do that? Well, if I'd have thought about it, wait a minute, I'm disrupting the harmony in my body, I'm going to get a cold, well, I would have stopped it, but my conscious mind wouldn't let me. And you know what? The truth is, it was an ego thing. Mary didn't get this done. Like, who would have cared, I wouldn't have told you. And I wouldn't have a cold. So now I have a cold, and you go, what did she not get done? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. So it's recognizing the connections in our life, in our body, in every little tiny cell, recognizing we're swimming in this energy soup. Yesterday, I had the privilege of officiating at an ordination ceremony of a wonderful woman I've been mentoring for over 3 years. We talked every other Friday morning at 7:30 in the morning about her ministry, and I would question her, and whenever she wanted advice, I would be there for her. And it was really wonderful. There were 16 ministers there, and all in our robes, and we don't get to do that very often, so it was really sweet. But here's the thing about her ministry. She loves doing pet blessings. She loves talking at any church that will have her. The Lutherans in Sacramento love her. I find that very interesting. She loves doing bereavement ceremonies. She's very, very good at that. But she's a tour guide for elders. Every month, she takes at least 4 to 6 trips. South America, Alaska, Mexico, all over the U.S., Canada. She takes people all over the world. She's taken them to Europe. She gets 25 to 40 elders on every trip, and they have a blast. Now, I might say it really takes a good minister to do that, because when you're with 25 to 40 elders who are highly opinionated, judgmental at times argumentative. This is why it takes a good minister to be a tour guide, and Ramona is wonderful. She's just wonderful. She listens to them. And I described her yesterday as holding their hearts in her hand, and she started crying. It made me want to cry too. That's what she does. She's that sweet. And then when they're in areas like the Badlands of South Dakota, they spend a week in the Badlands learning the history. And she makes them conscious of the history of the Native American Indians. And when they say not so nice things, she reminds them of what it was really like. She's got her history down pat. So she loves to read out Superstition. She loves to challenge their thinking and make them think outside the box. And that's why her tours are so popular. So popular. So it's an amazing experience to go with her, because I also get to hear the things that don't go well. How in the world could this have happened? But you know what? She says, oh, it's just a coincidence, and it's teaching us something we need to know. And things always work out, and they're always amazed. They're always amazed. They're always in good hands with Ramona. She helps them recognize that problems anywhere in their life can be an opportunity for transformation of how they think and what they believe. Now, that's a real breakthrough, isn't it? Wouldn't you all just love to do that with your parents? Wouldn't you just love to do it with any elderly people who are kind of stuck in their ways? In fact, many of us seem to sometimes be stuck in our ways. And it's good to come back to this teaching to remember there's a lot bigger thing going on here. Now, a couple weeks ago, we handed out prayer cards and invited you to fill them out. And we received 73 of them back. And Sue and I split them, and we've been responding to them. And it was really impactful to me. So many expressed pain, fear, doubt, stress, negativity, anxiety, resentment, sadness, defeat. It was clear you knew what you didn't like. Let me just say it that way. Then on the back side of the card, it was really clear what you did want. You wanted love, you wanted peace, you wanted joy, you wanted beauty. You wanted all the things that any human being would want. So what I was thinking is the task is, you know what you don't want on one side of the card, and you turn it over and you know what you want. But what is the pathway for your mind to get there? Because I can say, oh, just love. What is the pathway to get there? What helps you work through a process to say, I've got it, I've got it. God is love, I am love. And spiritual mind treatment is the purpose of that. But when you come to a practitioner or a minister, we just don't rattle off a prayer. We say, wait a minute, tell me more. Tell me more about this fear. And we try and see where we can connect it with your separation from the goodness of God, the goodness in the universe. And then we teach you principles, which are laws. There's only goodness going on here. There's only oneness going on here. There's 12 different principles. And then we do a prayer for you, called an affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. And it goes back to C plus A equals B. What you conceive and what you believe is what you will achieve. So we want you to achieve the good side of that card. So today in your program, I put a spiritual mind treatment in there on yellow paper about trusting the universe, because it kind of wraps it all up. So when you read that, whether it's at home or tomorrow or whatever, if it doesn't help you take you from the one side of the card to the other with an understanding, please come and see us. Because we want you in this world to be trusting the universe. When I was at West Sac yesterday, a wonderful, wonderful center, Reverend Georgia Prescott. She's an amazing teacher. But I walked in, and there were different colored panels of fabric hanging all over the ceiling. And when she talks to the audience in their church, it's about 30% Hispanic, about 30% African American, and the rest a mix of white, etc. So she's always talking to this mixture. And everywhere you look, it's we are one. We are one. And when she talks about God, she just doesn't always say God. She'll say Allah, Elohim, sacred grandmother tree. Oh, what a beautiful words for God. The higher power, divine intelligence, and so much more. She's always addressing the uniqueness of every person and the oneness of every person. So it's important to take care of what's in our mind. It's important to keep it fresh in our mind that this thing we call God is all there is. And one of the songs that closed the ordination ceremony yesterday, really great musicians at the church, it's God's Got It. And it was a rap song. And it was, I may not have gas in my tank, I may not have money in my pocket, but you know what? God's got it. And we're all doing, God's got it. Oh, it just made everybody cry. But it's the truth. It's the truth. So when we have thoughts that are negative, we have to just stop and replace them with something that's affirmative. Because everything in life is a call for love. Even when someone's being difficult, it's a call for love. We all just want to be loved. So I believe you are whole, perfect, and complete. If you just got out of jail, you're whole, perfect, and complete. If you have an addiction to something other than books, you're whole, perfect, and complete. Always. Because what we see here is that inner you that is whole, perfect, and complete. You know, science continues to find ways to further support that we live in this energy soup. The Higgs boson, that's another one of my favorite stories. But think about taking classes, because this is where we really learn principle, and we really learn how vast it affects everything we do, we are, we see, we think, the people we're with, how important it feels to me as a minister to represent this teaching at an ordination with an audience that was so diverse yesterday. It's important to trust in the goodness of God and the goodness of the universe. And then when we say, and so it is, at the end of our prayer, stamp amen all over that. So let's do a prayer about that. The great amen. The great amen. Oh, thank you, Judy. Today is just another one of those wonderful days where we feel uplifted, where we feel in harmony with everyone in this room, with the music, with the choir, with the words spoken. That is the essence of life. Harmony, synchronicity. All those little nuances that come to us during the day that make us think, oh, maybe I should go this way, or maybe I should go that way, or maybe I can be a little more loving. Maybe I can call a friend who I know could appreciate a welcome hand, a welcoming word. How can I express all the goodness that's in this world through me today? How can I trust the universe? How can I trust that every person, I don't care who you call them, what you call them, who they are, it's all God, bringing to us the awareness that it is all perfect, so that we can contribute to the goodness in the world. We can contribute our thoughts, our movements, our energies to the goodness in the world. It's truly what we're here to do. And I accept the challenge. I invite you to also, because I give great thanks that we have a way to do this. We have an understanding of how to do this. And today I accept the challenge and invite you to also. And stamp amen all over it. And so it is.